Hello and welcome to my second attempt at an ASMR mock draft. There was a trade right after that one, so I rethought everything and decided I didn't like half the picks. So here we are, round two. Not round two, I lied. Attempt two at round one. I'm gonna touch less on certain players and more just kind of cover the picks and maybe just a little tangents on who I think might follow them or go in certain spots because of this other player, whatever. This I'll recap for the position that triggers what we're gonna do. This one's gonna be linebacker. No, this one's D-line. Any D-line, edge, outside linebacker, pass rusher, edge, and even defensive tackle, even nose tackle. We got that one's linebacker. And then lastly for the defense, the paper sounds for corners and safeties. There's only one safety that goes around one. If you're watching this video, you very likely know who that is. Thank you again for watching. Without further delay, sorry, one more delay. Sorry. Receivers. Then quarterback a little. Ball. O-line. Now, no, there's no more delay. Round one. First pick is Trevor Lawrence still. Not going to change. Second pick is Zach Wilson still. So that's probably not going to change. Pick 3 is where our draft really starts, where tangents kind of create, where timelines split. Because the first 2 picks are somewhat set in stone. Now the third pick is set in stone in terms of what position it's going to be. It's going to be a quarterback. It's not going to be Kyle Pitts. It's going to be quarterback. It's Justin Fields, Trey Lance, or Mac Jones. Those are the 3 quarterbacks available that are arguably worth the pick. I think there's just too much between Kyle Shanahan and Justin Fields. I feel like I noticed that what's it called? I saw a thing that pointed out that Justin Fields' second pro day. But I don't know if Shanahan was at that one, but Justin Fields was doing had his right foot back instead of his left. That's something that Shanahan had happened with every one of his quarterbacks, so that's a pretty good indicator, in my opinion, that it could be him. I also just think he's the better quarterback of all 3. I think I think Trey Lance obviously has a higher ceiling, but he's going to come out the gate better probably. However, in the there's a little bit of a tangent. If at 3, San Francisco decides to go with Mac Jones, which is the big smoke screen they're creating, or might be true, who knows? But that's the big narrative they're trying to create. Don't know why, to be honest. But Mac Jones goes 3rd. Then at 4th overall, Atlanta or New England takes Justin Fields. I think I'm thinking too much. If Mac Jones goes 3, then at number 4 is going to be the New England Patriots trading up to 4 with Atlanta, because Denver is still going to have Trey Lance and Justin Fields. one of them is likely going to fall to them, or fall close enough, I should say. So if that scenario, it's Mac Jones at 3, Justin Fields to New England at 4. There's something in my eye. And then 7 is Denver with Trey Lance. They're trading up to Detroit spot to take Trey Lance. And then in the other alternate universe where San Fran takes Trey Lance at 3, I see Justin Fields going to Atlanta at 4. I don't think New England is going to be desperate enough at that point for when they I don't know. I think Justin Fields is going 4 to either New England or Atlanta if he's still there. I don't think he gets past that spot, honestly. It's either Atlanta or New England. And then 7, Denver, Mac Jones. I think that's what happens there. But and this real life, wow, I'm way too ahead of myself. In my attempt, I see it's Justin Fields at 3. And then number 4 is the Atlanta Falcons. They could go Justin Fields if he's available. I don't think he's going to be available. And I don't think they like Trey Lance as much as they do Justin Fields, and I think they like Kyle Pitts just above Trey Lance, so I think they're going to go with Kyle Pitts, unless they get a great trade for someone to pick Trey Lance, or Mac Jones, I guess. Then pick number 5, we have Cincinnati Bengals, Penei Sewell, left tackle, kind of kick the Riley Reef inside, or Jonah Williams, kick him inside either or, it works. And then at 6, I had Jamar Chase for like the longest time. There's a report that they're down on players who sat out last year, and Devonta Smith fits their system better anyway. I'm sorry, I haven't been doing the triggers. I meant to do this for Penei Sewell and get some of that in there. Penei Sewell, the Bengals at 5. Penei Sewell to the Bengals at 5. And a little rewind. A little more rewind of that. Kyle Pitts to the Falcons at 4. And now, kicking back up, we're fast forwarding again to where we were. Pick number 6, Devonta Smith. He seems like he'd fit Tua better, maybe. Also had somewhat of a history, I guess. So I think if they truly are down on players that sat out a year, then Jamar Chase might not be their man. So at 6, they probably are hoping for Kyle Pitts, but they don't get him this scenario, so they end up taking Devonta Smith. 7 in this instance, I have Denver. Detroit trading the pick away to Denver, who sits at 9. So Denver trades up to the 7th overall pick, and they take Trey Lance, the best quarterback available. Unless you really like Mac Jones, he just has so much potential. And then pick 8 is Jamar Chase in this instance. I really considered keeping Detroit at 7 instead, and having them take Jamar Chase there just because he's probably their guy, and other than Waddle, but they probably don't think they can even get Jamar Chase. So, but in this instance, what I think happens is Denver takes Trey Lance. Detroit trades from 9 back to 8, which probably isn't going to take much at all. It's a 6th round pick, 5th round pick. Probably that's not too much. The trade from 9 to 8, and that's where Detroit would take Jamar Chase. Doing that just to prevent other teams from trading up to where Carolina is at that point and getting that pick. And it's probably really easy to convince the Carolina team to just move back a spot and take a 5th round pick, just in case, to get their guy. It's a convoluted system, but it pushes Carolina down to 9 and have them taking Rashawn Slater, the best left tackle available. If for some reason Penei Sewell were to fall, I get it. they'd take him in a heartbeat, I think. But I think they need a left tackle, and I think they know that. And Rashawn Slater might be a better player than Penei Sewell is right now. 10 is Patrick Surtain or J.C. Horn. It's an either-or situation. I personally think that J.C. Horn is the better player and better corner. But Patrick Surtain is a bit taller, as far as I know. And the new Dan Quinn defense there in Dallas needs big corners, at least one big man guy, and they don't even have that. Diggs he's a corner, but I don't think he's that guy. And I think Surtain probably would fit that role a little, at least their idea of the role better. But J.C. Horn would probably be the better player. And then I have the Chargers trading up to 11, which the more I thought about it, it just kind of makes sense. Because I saw there was a tweet from the Chargers that was deleted. I don't know how long it was up, but it was a picture of the pick 11 from the New York Giants being traded to the Chargers for pick 13 and a third-round pick to move 2 spots. I think that's a bit steep, but whatever. Apparently Dave Gettleman doesn't trade back. That was a big thing that went around for about a week. I personally don't see the reason you bring that up unless I don't see the reason you bring. I don't see how that gets brought into draft conversation. Like it's a big news headline, unless it was purposefully let out, as in how Adam Schefter and all them they release whole tons of statements, whole tons of reports. A lot of those are fed from insider teams and also teams try and just give out, the whole idea of something, to leak it intentionally, to give off a team, to tell something to a team indirectly, essentially. And I think that's also a very common method for smoke screens. And one of the things they came out, Dave Gettleman doesn't trade back ever, but I don't see them trading up for anybody. So I think they're gonna trade back. It just makes so much sense. Maybe not far, but I think they're gonna trade back. In this case, I have them trading back just 13. The Chargers. It's not far. It's not out of the realm of possibility for a player, for a coach or GM, I guess, that has never traded it back. Going 2 spots, you're still gonna get your guy very likely. You probably aren't gonna go 2 spots back if you feel like the guy after you is gonna want your guy. You won't do that. But I don't think that's the case in this scenario. So I think the Giants, after that tangent, the Giants trade back from 11 to 13, and the Chargers take J.C. Horn, the other corner, or if Patrick Surtain is the other corner available and J.C. Horn's been taken, I still think they trade up to 11 and take the other corner. J.C. Horn to the Chargers, I think, is a phenomenal fit. It's just phenomenal. Who did they lose? Casey Hayward. They needed a little shutdown guy. Boom. J.C. Horn, shut down. Now we're on the Big 12. We're at the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they wanted J.C. Horn or Patrick Surtain. But if Devonta Smith isn't available for them at 12, which he isn't because he was drafted at 6 to Miami in this case, they have to look at the best player on the board, especially the ones it needs. And corner is gone. The top 2 guys at corner are gone. The top offensive linemen are gone. But the best receivers are still available. One of the best 3 receivers is still available, Jalen Waddle, and he fits a need. They need a receiver. They drafted one in the first round last year. Sure, that's not great to draft have to guy of the same position in the first round 2 years in a row. But it's Jalen Waddle. He's gonna be great. Even if Rager doesn't come along, and he can at least stretch the defense a little bit. In this scenario, this is the only pick for the Eagles that makes sense for them. It's a tiny bit early for linebackers. unless the Micah Parsons would work in their system, but I just don't think he would. So that's pick 12, Jalen Waddle. Pick 13. Now we're the Giants pick. The Giants traded back for the first time. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is the pick for a few reasons. Their defense is good. They have talent in safety. They have so much talent at corner. They've got a decent line. They need an edge guy. Yeah, you need an edge guy. We'll get to that later. You need an edge guy. I think even more important than an edge guy, they needed an athlete. Like, sure, they got Jabril Peppers. Sure, they got, what's his name on the line? I can't remember right now. Sexy Dexy, I think it was Dexter Lawrence. Yeah. Sure, they got athleticism there. Who's the athlete in the middle field? Kyler Fackrell? Get out of here. Micah Parsons. Plug Micah Parsons in there. Just don't ask him to cover. He's gonna do okay. Have him blitz the line. Have him off the edge if you need. Dude, man can do a lot of things. Cover's not one of them, but just don't ask him to do that, and he should work. Especially if you get a strong D line, let him move around well, use him properly. He's gonna be a force, and that makes that defense so much better. And they can actually contend almost, not contend, because I just don't see that with their offensive line. But they can be a formidable and menacing defense with that. Now we're at pick 14. And at pick 14, last time I had Kwity Paye. I don't think it's Kwity Paye this time because I think the guy who they actually want is still on the board, and I think it's Christian Darrisaw. I had him going to the Chargers last time, but I think he's like their number 3 kind of guy that they hope to get. Well, I guess 4, because I was counting both corners as one guy, essentially. I think they want Rashawn Slater. I think he's their guy. I don't think they have a hope to get him, really, unless they do trade up. Unless, some series of events, some people trade up and push players down the board. But I think the Chargers would want Slater, and I think the Chargers, after that, then want both the corners, and then Darrisaw is the number 4. Minnesota Vikings, I think Slater's also their number 1, but they're not going to get him. And I think Darrisaw is the very realistic number 2. He's here in that scenario. They need a left tackle badly. Their tackle, I think, is now in Cincinnati. Christian Darrisaw, 14. Third left tackle off the board before 15. And then we move to the New England Patriots at 15. Now, this is another one where there's some speculation. There was a leaked image, another one, that came out. It was a picture of looks like a Green Bay Packers executive's desk. It almost looks, it's either staged, faked, the same thing actually. It's either staged, by somebody who knows what they're doing and is trying to put that out there, or 2, somebody who's fucking around and thought we should put that in there, maybe a nice little nod. Or 3, it was put out intentionally to actually spread the idea of it. Jordan Love is, in my opinion, Mac Jones level in terms of talent, where he should be in terms of this quarterback class. He should be hovering on 5, maybe 6. The first 4 guys are better than him, period. I don't see New England trading up, or trading in general. Maybe trading, but not a first-round pick for Jordan Love. I just don't. I see him trading for maybe Trey Lance. Not really Mac Jones, but definitely Justin Fields. I definitely see him trading for Justin Fields. I can see him trading a 2nd for Jordan Love, maybe, but not a 1st. Especially not the 15th overall pick. So I'm not buying into that rumor. I'm not buying into that. It was fun to look at. It was fun to think about, and it had me going for a second. I had them switched. I had them trading. The more I thought about it, it just didn't seem like something Bill Belichick would do. So, Zaven Collins, linebacker, Tulsa. He's like 6'3", 6'4", 270, 260. I'm not saying that wrong. I know it's not like the normal size for a linebacker. Dude's big, and apparently he has a history of gymnastics. He's a former competitive gymnast when he was younger. Which that at linebacker, that size, that athleticism, and then that former training as well. He's so big. That's New England. That's New England. He's going to be used in interesting ways. New England at 15, Zaven Collins. Now moving on to pick 16. It's the Arizona Cardinals, and I have them trading that pick away, actually. I have them trading with another team that's just a couple picks away, and that's the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins are pick 18. And I think they want to get ahead of pick 17, which is the Raiders. I think they want to go ahead and grab their defensive end, the guy who's going to replace Lawson. Was it Shaq or yes, Shaq? Yeah, I think it was a Lawson, lesser of the two Lawson edge rushers. They want to replace him because they traded him away, and I think they go with Kwity Paye because I think he's versatile enough that we're like. Gruden is salivating over him. And I think Miami wants him bad enough where they can just trade a little bit to go up 2 picks, and I think Arizona is more than happy to listen, given that they don't really have that many picks this year. And I think they can also still get their guy if they do this, or at least their backup guy, even if their guy gets taken. So 16 is Kwity Paye to the Miami Dolphins. Probably gonna have to trade like a 4th round pick for that too, maybe 5th. Let's trade go up 2 spots. It benefits both teams usually. But, yeah, especially the team that receives the 5th round pick. They get the guy and they get another guy. And then we're at pick 17, and I think Las Vegas, John Gruden's heavily considering Kwity Paye because he probably just fits all their boxes. However, Kwity Paye goes at 16. Kwity Paye's off the board, so they go with their other guy. Trevon Moehrig, the best safety in the class, the only safety I have going in the first round. I almost had him going in the second, but apparently he's become really popular for the Raiders for some reason, and I'm going to buy into it. The media is probably as good at predicting that John Gruden as I am. I'm not going to make a spider into a banana joke. I'm not going to let myself. And at pick 18 was the Miami Dolphins. They traded up. So the Arizona Cardinals are at pick 18. And they take Christian Barmore, the defensive tackle. I think he's their guy. I think they think the biggest issue they had last year, at least in their eyes, wasn't offensive line, which probably it is because Kyler Murray ran around a lot. You don't really want him to do that, but even though he excels at it, you don't really want him to. So I think they realized that their D-line wasn't getting pressure. Chris Jones gets pressure. Chris Jones was out. There was no pressure on the D-line. So they got J.J. Watt. That's an edge. Chris Jones, the other edge. Their middle of the line wasn't great either. Go ahead and go early with the best defensive tackle, arguably early with the best defensive tackle in the class. There's not another one worth picking until close to round 2 or round 2, and maybe middle round 2, honestly. So get that guy, plug him in there. He's not going to be phenomenal all the time, but he's going to have his moments, and that's enough. With J.J. Watt and Chris Jones around him, that's a defensive front there. That's going to get pressure. You're not going to have to put up points every time you get to touch the ball. However, maybe consider online. Pick 19, Washington. And they're going to take Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. The best coverage linebacker in the class. He's what, like, I think 205, 225, somewhere around that range. That's what he's listed at now. He played corner essentially as a linebacker. He played corner, which is he's a linebacker, but he played in the slot. He dominated it. He's PFF's best slot guy, not player. Not linebacker, slot guy. I think that's what they need. I think they're considering left tackle. Apparently, the left tackle performed adequately, which is not great. Not what you want in a left tackle, but like when your head coach is the former head coach of the Carolina Panthers, and he had Luke Kuechly, I think he's gonna want a middle linebacker, especially when he's got the pieces everywhere else on that defense. But linebacker, I think Ron Rivera wants a guy there. So I think they're going to take the best guy there. Pick 20. Pick 20. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers trading all the way up 4 picks with the Chicago Bears. Now, last draft, I had the Steelers taking Creed Humphrey, and I still think that's plausible. I think Creed Humphrey's more their guy if they don't get the guy I have them trading him to get right now, which is Tevin Jenkins, best right tackle. He could play left, honestly. The best right tackle available, if not in the draft. Smaller, and they need a tackle desperately. They need a guard too, I think. I might be misremembering. They need a center for sure. They need a center and a tackle. Those are the two I know they need for sure. And they trade up ahead of the tackle run, which is inevitable in this year, to try and get the one that's best available and the 4th best tackle to most people, arguably the 3rd, also arguably the 6th, depending on who you ask. So Tevin Jenkins going to Pittsburgh at 20. Now we're at pick 21. Indianapolis Colts. Remember that tackle run I mentioned? Yeah, we're here we are. I've got Samuel Cosme. However the first name is pronounced. Samuel is S-M-U-E-L, so it's Samuel, I guess. It's one of those names. This have 4 pronunciations of it. Cosme is the last name. He's the left tackle. He's athletic, especially for the position. He's the most athletic tackle on the board, at least from what I know. They need one. If they Costanzo left, then they desperately need a tackle. They could go edge. They could go receiver. I just think tackle is something that the team needs, especially if they just got a new quarterback and a Carson Wentz who's not good under pressure. You don't want to leave him under pressure, especially in the new system. It's not going to work if you leave him under pressure early. So I think they know that. And now we're going to pick 22. I have the Tennessee Titans taking another lineman. This one is arguably a tackle. Elijah. It's Elijah, and then Vera Tucker. Vera-Tucker, is a guard / tackle. He apparently played tackle, but he's very, he's very much expected to be a guard because of the size of his arms, the length of his arms, which normally I guess doesn't really disqualify a player from a certain position or whatnot. But apparently he's supposed to be like the best guard in the draft if he does move there. If not, he's probably like offensive tackle 5 or 4, depending on who you ask again. but I think they need a guard, and putting that in front of Derrick Henry is not a bad idea. Now moving on to pick 23, I have the New York Jets. The New York Jets taking Jason Oweh. Now Jason Oweh, I considered having going where Kwity Paye went, just because I think the Jets really want Oweh, and I think Miami knows that. And I think Miami might try to take him from them, but I think they like Kwity Paye that much more. But they have Robert Saleh as their new head coach, defensive-minded guy, really just amped up guy. With a dominant defense, you need a pass rusher. You need a pass rusher extraordinaire. You need a guy who's gonna you see him and you go, okay, we have to make sure we get 2 guys on him at all times. He had that in San Fran with Bosa. New York doesn't have a guy like that. They have Quentin Williams. He's on the inside. That's different. Put Quentin Williams with a guy who's got insane athleticism. Sure, he didn't have a sack in his last year, but it's whatever. Sacks aren't everything. Sacks lie. Vic Beasley had 15 and a half sacks one year, and got the most sacks that year. Vic Beasley's out of the league 2 or 3 years later. He signed with the Titans, and I don't think he made the team, or he got cut, or something. I don't know. Vic Beasley's bad. At football, at least, he's tangent. Jason Oweh is kind of similar to Beasley, though, which is why a lot of teams are scared of him, because he didn't produce any sacks, but he seems to have put pressure, which I think why he's gonna be good, because he creates pressure and doesn't really worry about sacks as much, or I guess doesn't really get as many sacks as he does pressures. He might be a success with like Beasley. I think they want an edge guy in New York. That's what I'm saying. And then here we are with Chicago after trading back with Pittsburgh. Mac Jones. He's available. I just realized I did the wrong trigger for that whole pick. Jason Oweh. I'm sorry. Jason Oweh. This is Jason Oweh right here. This is Jason Oweh. Alright, that was Jason Oweh. Now, back to Chicago, his pick of Mac Jones. I think they want him, even though he's just Andy Dalton 2.0, which I guess is better than Andy Dalton. So I can't really... he's going to go round 1 somewhere. I don't see Washington taking him. I think they covet a linebacker more. I don't see Carolina taking him because of Sam Darnold. I don't see it. I don't see Detroit taking him because George is in top 10. I don't think he's going to go in the top 10 unless San Fran decides they want him that badly. I don't think New England wants him that badly, to be honest. I think they'd take him in the second round if he's there. They might trade up in the second round to get him if he's still there. I think New Orleans is considering him, honestly. But I think they're not gonna want to be in the first round, to be honest. And I almost see Minnesota as an okay spot too. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, but they'd have to trade back too. The only way he goes in the top 5 is if San Fran drafts him. Nobody's gonna trade up in the top 5 to draft him. Somebody might trade him in the top 5 to draft Trey Lance or Justin Fields, not Mac Jones. Unless they're Kyle Shanahan, apparently, but I don't believe that one. We've talked about that already. It doesn't make sense in Pittsburgh, I guess. Pittsburgh. I mean Chicago. I don't think Pittsburgh's gonna take him either. I think they want Kellen Mond in the second or third round, to be honest. I think he's gonna if Andy Dalton's, I don't know if he's going to beat out Andy Dalton or to any degree at any point in the week, any point in the season. But I feel like Andy Dalton's going to play himself onto the bench potentially. And if Andy Dalton plays himself onto the bench, then that's when Mac Jones comes out. They also need a left tackle and a corner, desperately, because they just cut Kyle Fuller because they can't manage team properly. They could use a safety, but in this pick, they could go with corner, Mac Jones, or a tackle. In this world, they're going Mac Jones. Now to pick 25. Now, I will admit, this was the hardest pick for me in the entire first round. I debated on so many, and I went back and forth for so long, and I had Trevon Moehrig going here. And Trevon Moehrig would be a phenomenal fit for here. He's I think their number one for the number 2 pick in the first round, for their second pick in the first round. He's gone. They would have to trade up for him. I just don't see them doing that, to be honest. I think they want to keep their 4 picks they have in the top 20. Top 60. So you stay pat at 25 and take just the best player on the board, which in this world is another corner. It's actually Caleb Farley. He's a bit broken at the moment. He had a back surgery that apparently is like it's an 80 to 20% chance of playing again. So he should be good. He arguably should be a top 15 pick if he's healthy. Some people had him as corner number 1. I still thought he's corner 3, and I still think that's accurate. They could go a different player. They could go whoever they think is the best player on the board, I think, is pick 25. Or Trevon Moehrig if he's available, which might be the best player on the board, and then at that point too. But I have them going Caleb Farley here. Just trying to bulk up that defense, not bulk up, but make the defense better, the secondary especially. Sure, they got Henderson out there Henderson as a first round pick last year. That's a good pick. He's been okay. Then you've got Shaquille Griffin. They just signed in free agency from the Seahawks, I believe. He's going to be another boundary corner. I don't know if he's in the long-term plans. I don't know how long of a deal it was, honestly. It might have been a 1 year, it might have been longer. Either way, Caleb Farley can probably do the inside too, honestly. I don't know if you necessarily want him to or need him to. But there's going to be a spot for him in the secondary. It's just going to make the secondary better with another great corner there. It's not a bad pick. He's arguably the best player available on this board at the moment. It's not necessarily the biggest need, but they're in a position where they can afford to not go for the biggest need. They don't have a huge amount of needs, but they have a huge amount of picks. And they're just trying to surround to make the team just. I'm speaking out my ass now. I'm sorry. Let's move on. Pick 26. Cleveland Browns. And last time I had them getting Micah Parsons. I had Micah Parsons stumbling down draft boards. I remembered he's a nuts athlete, so I had him going much higher. I remember how a lot of teams value that, so I think he's gonna be in the top 15 picks, and I have him going to the Giants. But we're not here to talk about the Giants and Micah Parsons. We're here to talk about pick 26, Cleveland Browns, another linebacker, Jamin Davis. I think it's Jamin. It could be Hammond, but I think it's Jamin. The middle linebacker. They need a middle linebacker. Their defense is solid. They needed a safety. They got the best one in free agency. Well, at least that was available. Their D-line's getting better with Jadeveon Clowney on it. So they need another inside defensive tackle, but Christian Barmore's gone. That's the only guy I could see that would be on the line. That would be a defensive line player taken here at this pick. I don't see him going safety, but I see him going defense, and not linebacker is a position of need. Linebacker, there's athletes there too. You got Zaven Collins, you got Micah Parsons, who I had last time, and you got the Joker, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. one of those 4 guys is likely going to fall to them. I think it's John Davis. He had he was apparently known well for his tackling, which is great, especially considering the fact that I mostly knew him for his combine numbers, not combine, but pro day numbers, because he put on a somewhat of a show, especially for a middle linebacker. He only has 1 year in playing though, but so did Deion Jones, and he's turned out phenomenal. So I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to work out there. From the Cleveland Browns, 26, Jamin Davis, middle linebacker. Now we're going to flip the page. And we're at pick 27 now. Pick 27, the first of Baltimore's 2 picks at the very back end of the first round. Now, they could trade up. They could trade away these picks for somebody like, recently what's been going around in the mock draft world is Julio Jones available for trade, apparently, or at least fielding trade calls for Julio Jones. From that headline, I didn't read Julio Jones is going to be traded. I read Julio Jones could be, if you give me, an offer good enough. I just don't see anybody doing that. Julio Jones is one of the best Falcons of all time. Top 3. Period. I just don't see them moving on from him, even if it is a new regime. It just creates another need, and I don't think they'd be able to solve it that fast. I get they're in a rebuild, but it just doesn't make sense to create a new position of need if you're not going to be able to. I don't know. I just don't believe it. However, if Julio Jones does go anywhere, I want it to be Baltimore, to be honest. Baltimore or Jacksonville. I like both those teams in the AFC. I also like the Bills. Those are my 3 AFC teams that I like the most. I don't want him to go anywhere because I think he should be a Falcon forever. But Baltimore, pick 27. They don't get Julio Jones. In this case, they get Rashod Bateman. Number 4 receiver off the board, I think, in this case, which is kind of nuts to think about. Yeah, the more I think about it, it's kind of nuts. I think. He's most people's wide receiver 4. He's some people's wide receivers 5, 6. He's a big outside guy who does everything right, apparently. He's perfect for their system. They need that. They absolutely need that in Baltimore. Yeah, sure, they signed Sammy Watkins. Okay. Still have position of need. Now you have pick 28. Pick 28 is where I think the Giants trade back into the first round. I think the Giants are going to be aggressive, because I think Dave Gettleman knows he's not on the hot seat, so to speak. But he's got to tell you, his hourglass is definitely turned. The offense, the only needs you really have on offense, in my opinion, tight end. Yeah, I said it. Evan Ingram's not that great. He's a Pro Bowler and that didn't deserve it whatsoever last year. They need a tight end. Yeah, that's not that important. They need a tackle or guard. Honestly, one of them. Just one of them probably would work for them. Probably a tackle, in my opinion. Just right tackle. Maybe even a left and kick Thomas over to right. They need a tackle. They can live without one in the first round. They can get one a little later on. I think more pressing needs right now is how close that defense is to being really good. And I think if you draft Micah Parsons, which I have them doing early in the draft, and the other position they have of need on the defense is quite literally just edge. And other than Kwity Paye and Jason Owe, they have their pickup guys. And I think they want an outside linebacker guy. And I think that's Azeez Ojulari. So I think the Giants at pick 28 trade up with New Orleans, because I don't know if they were looking to honestly afford a first-round pick, and even if they can, they probably want to make it easier on themselves than just not. And plus, they don't really have that many picks in this draft. I think they have 6. Like, sure, that's not a small amount. You want more than 6 in most years, so. I see him going Azeez Ojulari. At one point, he was my pass rusher number 1. I currently think Phillips honestly is, but I think he's going to get pushed down the board. So I think it's like Phillips, and then there's like Ojulari and Owe, like kind of right there with each other. And I think Kwity Paye is going to be a phenomenal run defender, but I don't know about pass rusher. So he's kind of like it's right there depending on what your need is. I think he's like my number 4 guy, but like could easily go number 1. I wouldn't be upset if my team, whoever that is, drafts him. I don't know why I wait, to be honest. But Azeez Ojulari, pick 28, New York Giants. Pick 29, last few picks of the drafts, we have the Green Bay Packers. Now, they could go a few different directions. They need a receiver. They need another tackle. One, their right tackle didn't perform great last year. He performed good, like okay. But you've also got Bakhtiari, who ended on the year on the injured reserve. And he's not super young, so might as well get another guy in there to kind of learn from him, take his spot eventually. But that's not where I see them going. I also don't see them going receiver, because I see them thinking, Aaron Rodgers did fine last year. He got MVP with those guys. Yeah, we don't need another one. Oh, what we do need, though, is a corner. I think that's what they're saying themselves. They brought King back. They don't want to use him, though. He was terrible in the playoffs. So I think they go with the best corner on the board in their eyes, which is Greg Newsome Jr. Full plug, he's a guy you can probably start day 1, I think. Maybe not day 1, but like he's going to get reps. And by the end of the season, he's probably going to be the corner opposite from Jair Alexander. So that secondary is better. Won't give up 300 yards per game. I don't know if that's actually what happened, but it probably was close to, whatever. Moving on from there, I almost had Green Bay trading out of the first round. I had them trading out of the first round when I had them taking the 15th pick. Oddly enough, I also had them taking Greg Newsome at 15. Make of that what you will. But I think since they don't get pick 15 in my envisionment prediction, they stand pat at 29 and take Greg Newsome. Now moving on to pick 30 is the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills could go with a corner. Definitely go with a corner. Maybe even linebacker if one of the guys they like is still on the board. They go running back. They get the best running back available if they wanted. They could also go, I think, tackle or guard. Every team seems to need a tackle or guard this year, or in every year, but they stop winking. I think their biggest need, honestly, is definitely defensive line. Like, pass rush is, if they're going to put up points all the damn time like that, they need to get a guy who's going to put pressure. This video wasn't supposed to be this long, so I'm going to finish this up a little bit faster than I should have. Jalen Phillips, pick 30. Makes the most sense. I think best pass rusher gets pushed on the board because of concussions and other history issues. Wrongfully so, I think. And we are at pick 31. And I have the Baltimore Ravens replacing. Gonna go a little hectic ASMR here because you know what? We're at the end. We're gonna make it real fast. You know what? I have an idea. I will. Alex Leatherwood gonna replace Orlando Brown with Alex Leatherwood. Alabama tackle. Beefy. Alabama tackle. That's all you need to say. Should work. Plug him in a right tackle. You don't have to sign Villanueva. Maybe kick him into guard if you sign Villanueva. they could have used both these trades in unison and trade up for a guy they like more instead, but I see them going two separate picks because their GM is historically not aggressive. And now we're at pick 32, the last pick of the first round. This has been my prediction of the first round. I'm gonna be right. I know it. I put too much on it to be wrong. Not a professional. I'm just gonna be right. Pick 32 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Super Bowl champions. Tom Brady. Still around. Still kicking and throwing. Now he's going to be throwing to another receiver because Antonio Brown didn't come back. So they need another receiver. At least Tom Brady just thinks they do. In my eyes, Tom Brady thinks they do. And what Tom Brady wants, Tom Brady's going to get. Elijah Moore, best receiver available. He's the fifth receiver off the board in the first round. There's very likely going to be more than 5. That's impossible because I'm not going to be wrong. But I can see there being as many as 7. But I just think there's so many guys that like are supposed to go day 2 that could go day 2 per se. That enough teams are gonna be like, yeah, we can wait to get one of those guys. One of those guys are okay. If we can get a position of need, that's gonna be great, and then get a day 2 receiver. I think that's what a lot of teams are thinking. That's what a lot of teams are planning to do. So I think some teams might try to trade up in the early round 2 and try to get a receiver like Terrence Marshall, who I think Cincinnati's going to take, whether they trade up for him or not. I think it's where he goes. Thank you for watching my second attempt at an ASMR mock draft. This one's going to be right, I promise. Hopefully there's no more trades before the draft. Actually, I almost hope there is. But this is my second one, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. My idea is I'm gonna make a really fast one. Like I'm just gonna go through the things, and because this is 50 minutes long, and if you've watched it this long, thank you very much. I cannot say how much I appreciate your time, your 52 minutes worth of time watching me talk and babble about something that I have no pedigree in. Pedigree other than just a pretty good fan, pretty solid fan, not a dumb idiot. But I do what's it called? It's a coach. It's a couch coaching. Yeah, I do couch coach, but that's whatever. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna make it fast. A little hectic one. Draft is 2 days away.